Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel for yet another Project Zomboid guide. In this one, I'm going to be taking a look at your very first day when you hit the ground in Project Zomboid, what to prioritize, and how to make the very best use of your time. That first day is crucial, so with this video, you'll hopefully be able to make the most of it and set yourself up for success. If you do find this video useful, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for a whole lot more Zomboid tips, guides, and gameplay. So let's get started. So, you've spawned in and you're likely in some house in a suburban location. First thing you'll want to do is see if there's a TV in that house. If there is, switch it on and tune in to the Life and Living channel. I'd recommend turning down the volume a little. You don't want to draw those zombies to you right away. Now, ordinarily this channel shows you useful programs for learning skills at 6 AM, 12 PM, and 6 PM. But on the first day, that 6 AM show is going to be changed to 9 AM. There might be one or two ads either side of the shows that you want to catch, so you might have to wait for those to play out before you get to the show you're after. And with that in mind, to give you guys a fully immersive experience, of course, it's time for an ad of our own. I'm very pleased to announce the channel's affiliation with NordVPN. NordVPN has over 5,200 servers in 60 countries around the world, which means no limits and no internet censorship wherever you are. Whether you're in the zombie-ridden streets of Kentucky or browsing whilst you're on holiday, NordVPN will get you instant secure access to hundreds of streaming websites like Hulu, HBO, BBC iPlayer, and many, many more worldwide. It's easy to use and you can connect up to 6 devices on a single account, so you can share with your family and friends, or connect extra devices like your mobile or tablet. And if that wasn't enough, there's some huge discounts right now. Their 2-year plan has 72% off right now, which is 3% more than the best number on the internet, with 3 months completely free. Just click the link in the description of this video, the one that's on screen now, to get started. Alright, so now that you've secured NordVPN, we can get back to it. Right? Because I mean, you know, the pause button's like right down there, the link's in the description. You know, I'm just saying. Anyway, start by checking the house you're in right now. There's often a surprising amount of useful materials inside your very first starting location that most new players simply don't realize. If there's food in the cupboards or fridge, that's obviously a pretty good start, but what most new players forget is that there's also usually some clothing in the wardrobes or drawers to be turned into rags. These can be used as bandages if you're unfortunate enough to get a scratch or a laceration. If it's a bite, well, you won't be needing that bandage, let's put it that way. At the same time, whilst we're searching these wardrobes, we want to keep an eye out for any clothing that will offer us greater protection. Coats, scarves, and especially gloves. Gloves are going to be incredibly handy. See what I did there? If we have to pull broken glass out of a window, as it guarantees that we won't get a cut and start bleeding from doing so. While searching the house, keep an eye out for anything that can be used as a weapon. Rolling pins, frying pans, wrenches from the garage, if the house has one, baseball bats in the wardrobe, anything that can be used to defend yourself. Quite often the first house you spawn in can make a good temporary stronghold, so make sure to close up the curtains and keep the nosy neighbors from spotting you moving around inside. I'd always recommend basing in the first house you spawn in, or one very close by for the first couple of days. This is going to give you a chance to scour your local area and collect some essentials before you decide to move on. Now, we're going to have a bit of a shopping list going for things we want to find as soon as possible. These aren't necessarily essential to day one, but they will be crucial, and the earlier you find them, the better. The first thing we want to keep an eye out for is a water bottle. Any bottle, for that matter. A bleach bottle, soda bottle, they will all do the trick. Water or soda bottles are best, however, as they aren't too heavy to carry, and once filled with the water, your character will simply drink when thirsty rather than you having to go to a tap and drink manually. You're most likely to find these in kitchen cabinets, vending machines, or food stores, depending on what's around you. Next up is a watch. Ideally, you want a digital watch, but any will do if you can't find one of those to start with. The best place to find a watch is on zombies. Quite a few of them carry these around with them. You can even use a physical alarm clock that you're likely to find in wardrobes or dressers in houses if you can't find a watch at all. We're going to want one of these to track the time of day, allowing us to catch both of the follow-up educational shows on Life and Living. Remember, without the use of mods, you can only catch these shows once, and if you miss them, you're missing out on free XP and you won't be able to watch watch them later. You could even spend the first day sat in front of the TV and doing nothing else, and you'd still be doing the most important thing to your playthrough. To go with this, if there's any bookshelves in your starting house or the nearby ones titled Beginner, make sure to scoop these up, especially if it's carpentry, cooking, foraging, fishing, or trapping. You compare these with the TV shows to maximize the amount of experience you'll get and thus level your skills faster. You can even read them whilst watching the TV shows. Whilst you're killing zombies and searching for a watch, it's also worth keeping an eye out for handheld radios of any kind. You might find stationary ones as well in houses, both will work. We're going to want to check these radios for the emergency broadcast frequency. The reason we look for this as soon as we can comes down to the dreaded helicopter event, which can be a game ender for new players. Not only do these radios tell you about upcoming weather conditions, they will also give you a message about incoming air activity, which is your warning that the next day the helicopter event will begin. You won't have to worry about that for a while, but the earlier you can secure a radio with this frequency, the more of an advantage you're going to have. If the radio doesn't have this frequency, sometimes it's worth just taking the battery out of it and keeping a couple back, just in case you need them later in your run. We'll want to keep an eye out during our first day for anything that can be used for carpentry as well. Hammers, saws, and nails primarily. This will allow us to make our current location as safe and sound as possible by barricading some of the windows and doors with wooden planks, making it a safer place for you to sleep, so that you don't get jumped in the night. Even if we don't do this on day one, again, grabbing these supplies now will save us doing so later, and the sooner we secure them, the better. At the very end of our priority list for the first day will come securing a vehicle. Now, this one isn't often going to be successful on day one, but if you're spawning in a suburban area, it's likely that some vehicles will be scattered around nearby. It pays to check if they're up and running, because you will be surprised. Sometimes you'll find some keys in the glove compartment and it'll actually be working. Grabbing one of these early can mean a relocation to a much better base location early on, which is going to make transporting supplies a whole lot quicker, and less time investment will be spent doing so. Along these same lines, collect any gas cans you find, both empty or full. You're going to want to keep these for later. If you get the chance to fill them from nearby vehicles, that's even better. Just right click on a car and look for the option to siphon gas whilst the gas can is in your inventory. If it doesn't pop up, there's no gas available. Again, this is a resource we're going to benefit from later. Finally, I just wanted to touch on a couple of items that aren't essential but could be worth collecting if you've got the room for them. Matches or lighters, for example, can be incredibly handy and take up a very small amount of space in your inventory, especially if you've taken the smoker perk, which to be honest is considered free perk points by many people in the Project Zomboid community. Soap and cleaning liquid is considered to be a resource that's often lacking and makes washing your clothes or your character quicker, so that's worth grabbing too. I know some people are going to be asking about water containers, and yes, they are incredibly useful, but I don't tend to collect these on day one unless I find a backpack, because they can often take up a lot of inventory space, and on day one at least you're going to want to prioritize other materials. Things like mugs, cooking pots, and bowls can all be used to store water, but you shouldn't ever need to worry about this on day one. Just keep in mind that you may want to collect these within the first 2 or 3 days and fill them with water for when the taps run dry. Anyway, that's it from me in this one, guys. I hope this covered just about all of the basics you'll want to keep in mind when surviving your first day on Project Zomboid, and how to make the best use of your time in the most crucial day of all. If you're interested in supporting the channel, our Patreon is now up and running with some unique benefits like sneak peeks of upcoming content, a Discord channel to talk with me about ideas you'd like to see on the channel, and more. We've even got a credit screen coming up, so you'll get mentioned at the end of my videos. There's a link in the description for that, and a huge thank you to the first few that have decided to support me there. It's really been awesome seeing so many of you join the Discord as well lately, and I just want to say thank you, because honestly, the growth on the channel has been amazing recently, and we wouldn't have been able to affiliate ourselves with NordVPN if you guys weren't watching the videos, so thank you massively, and I'll see you all in the next one.